so I can get everybody here.
We're live. The tweet is out. There we go.
Cool. I'm actually making sure everybody can.
I'm going to post in my Discord as well. Ooh, we're going to have a good time. I'm excited.
Definitely.
This is the second live episode of Xbox Now, so.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, gotta copy. Perfect.
This guy showed me how much money he won off of the fight last week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Making some bank.
Yeah, he made some good bread. Huh? I don't bet on fights unless I'm in them. So
I don't bet on fights unless I'm in them. I love it.
I'm betting on myself, so I'm not betting on a fight unless I'm in them.
I get that. That makes sense.
I don't trust those guys. Hell no.
Lloyd, what's going on? Welcome in. So we'll give it a minute, let people roll in, and then we'll they can hear us, they can see us, but then I'll hit hit the go button. I'm here. But, man, it was an early morning for me. I got up at 5, hit the gym, and then Nintendo had a Monster Hunter Direct first thing this morning.
Oh, that's what's up.
7 a.m. for me, and so they are crushing.
I told you this already,
and that. And I'm a huge fan of that series. Like, I love that series. Like,
I can't stand it.
You can't? What's the last one you played?
The Monster Hunter World.
Okay.
When it came to Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have it on my 3DS XL, whatever.
Yeah.
That big joint. And I played it, and I was just like, I don't see the appeal. Whatever the hell. Left it at that. And it was like Monster Hunter World is coming to, Game Pass or whatever, and I checked it out. Personally, I'm just not a huge fan of how it's strategized. Now, other people love that part of it. Right. Like when you're fighting a monster and you got to you do such amount of damage and you chase it over here and you got to hunt it over here. And that comes into the name, Monster Hunter. So of course you would wound it, follow the blood tracks, get over here, kill it. It's just basically, but it just didn't catch me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if it was a certain aspect of it and I would have got a hold of it, because that's what we look for. We look for games to get that hook. We're like little fish, right? So we're going around little fishy, and you play a game until it actually hooks you. And when it hooks you, depending on how good the bait is, it may keep you there for a while. Destiny got me hooked damn near forever.
Yep.
But it takes something like Outriders to yank me off. So
got you. Yeah, it was honestly my son in Monster Hunter 3 on the Wii U. And that was also on the 3DS, right? And he got so into it, he made me buy a second Wii U so we could play online together with other people.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so we've been playing it ever since. And it's like our we vacation at this cabin in the woods, and it's like our thing to sit and play Monster Hunter on the deck of this cabin. We're literally in the middle of nowhere, just the Cascade Mountains. Like, that's pretty much all you can see, and like the North Cascades. And he's like, we got to play Monster. Like, so this, and he's 18 this year, so this is probably going to be our last. This will probably be our last.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, with him, as a like it will still play. Here's the thing: I got him the new one. He's not he played through all the single player stuff, but he hasn't jumped in with me that much. So but but with all the new content coming out though.
Listen, my son, he has Game Pass, so he's upstairs, and I go past his room right before I'm about to go, because I work nights. So like you said, you had an early morning. I go to work at 2:00 in the morning, make sure all my guys and everybody's set up, and then I go out, and then I'm finished probably by like around 5:00 in the morning. Get to the gym by 5:30. Work out, come back here, make sure that the kids everything is situated, and then my day is pretty much folding at that point in time.
Right.
But I go upstairs to go to bed, and my son is playing PUBG. He's 10 years old.
Okay.
Right. So, and he just got a chicken that's solo. His team was dead. And,
nice.
He got a chicken dinner.
Yeah.
He is a literal savant when it comes to games. He's my case study.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, when I was growing up, when I was his age, I was out working. 10 years old, I was out working. I was packing bags in the supermarket. I grew up in, my mom's was on welfare, single parent household. I grew up in the project. So if I wanted Jordans, well, I didn't wear Jordans. If I wanted a pair of Pumas or something like that, I had to go work, get my stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's my case study. Daddy has money. Daddy's here. Mommy's here. You're in the house, you get driven around, you go to the best schools, best food. You don't have to worry about that. Got all the games. I want to see what I would have been just playing what I love.
Right.
And I'm like, when he does something, I'm like, I knew it. That's exactly if I just had the opportunity just to relax and, just worry about school and worry about games, fun. Until it's time to be an adult, like later on in life.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it's great that they have the opportunity, Yeah.
Like, and who did it? We did that for them,
Right. Yeah.
Because, what we try to do is make them better versions of ourselves, even because they're little extensions of us. They literally do and say things that are extensions of us.
Right.
But, you sitting there saying that you're sitting on the deck with your son, and that scene, and in my head, I got the scene, right? I see the scene.
Sure.
And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. That's an absolute beautiful thing. So when you said this might be the last time, nah, I think, every so often it's going to come right back to let's bring out these Wii U's.
Right. Yeah. Grab the Switch. Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, at that same cabin, my older son, we went down to the pool. He's been jamming on Fortnite for like 4 years. He took about a year off. So I guess 3 years. And I mean, with the hopes of going pro, right? I mean, he's like, I play like myself, my wife, his girlfriend, and him will jump in and do squads periodically. And I watched that kid take on 3 teams of 4 by himself and just decimate all of them, right? Like, didn't even take a shot, like didn't even get hit. I'm like, what is happening right now? But,
exactly.
But we're at the cabin, and we all go swimming. He's like, I'm just gonna hang out. We come back. He's like, okay, I made $800 playing wagers, so we're gonna go. I'm taking you guys out to dinner tonight with Fortnite money. We're just like, you did what?
Yes.
You made $800. He's like, yeah. We were gone for like 3 hours, dude. He's like, yeah.
So I don't know if you listened to the podcast when I said my son asked for some DLC for Destiny, right? Well, he found out that Microsoft pays you to play. If you play games that's inside Game Pass, or you play demos, or you interact with Xbox Live in a certain manner, you get rewards.
Right.
With this rewards, you can redeem these rewards, and they give you money.
Got you.
He has purchased a boatload of VC points for Fortnite.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, so because he's like, oh, don't worry about it, Daddy. I got the money for the Destiny. I'm like, what? Yeah, rewards.
What have you been doing?
I said, that's absolutely ingenious. Yeah. So they sit there, they do the calculations, and they do the math. Okay, I can get the quick points here. I can get the quick points here.
Right.
And he's literally playing tons of games. I got him a 2 terabit hard drive. Mm-hmm. So he'll download a bunch of games, blaze them, then go over.
Sure.
Blaze them, go over. And I'm like, wow, this little genius, this little ingenious dude, he figured out, because I figure they can start getting allowance when they're 14, 15. Around that point in time, you start really having different type of desires.
Sure.
Like when you're going to school and stuff like that. So that's when you get your allowance. And then around right before you're about to go to college, you can get a job during that period of time, that prep time. So because it looks good on your resume that, have team building and stuff like that.
Right.
Not that you necessarily need the money, but you need that part on your resume, and you need that whole experience thing. Just to earn your own money without having that thought, to know how hard it is to give you that extra push while you're in college. Like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
Target, the hell with Target, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
So I got one going to college this year. So she got a full ride. She got a full boat, and she's going to be a culinary chef. So she wanted to work at Hot Topic.
Yeah.
So she said,
that's so metal.
Yeah, right. And she thought that, when she goes and fills out the resume, the job application, that they just take you. Because she thought that's how jobs work.
She's in.
No, they denied her.
Oh no.
Yeah,
she wasn't metal enough.
Nah. So now she went to 2. She went to Staples. So she thought she had the Staples in the bag. Oh, Hot Topic. Hey, okay. Staples.
Yeah.
Nah. I said, hit your target a little bit lower. You see that Burger King over there? Yeah, that's you. Burger King is looking at you. Just so you know, you do not want to do this for a living.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. All right. You ready to rock and roll this thing?
Let's get it.
Let's go. Here we go. Chat, thank you guys for being here. We're going to rock episode 3 of Xbox Now. This is the Xbox Now podcast. I'm your host, Josh Schmidt. My guest today is the man who is the biggest fan of adaptive triggers. What is going on, King David? How are you?
He's adaptive trigger. I'm good.
I had to do it. All the tweets. I periodically I see him in the trenches of the console wars, and I'm all like, bro, what about I don't even have a PlayStation 5. I've never even touched an adaptive trigger. All I try to do is be the adaptive trigger on Twitter, right? As the troll. And so that's you get those tweets from me on the regular, and then you just send me a GIF like get out of here.
Like, get out of here.
Get out of here with that.
I talk with those. People hate that. And I use probably like the same 5.
You definitely do, and I love it.
I hear you with the same 5 tweets. I found out the other day that I'm a GIF. If you put an Xbox fan, I pop up.
Do you really?
I pop up. It's absolutely nuts. I have my boy hit me like 3 o'clock in the morning. Yo, I'm like, what? You're trending. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a gift. I'm like, surprise.
I love it. That's incredible. So
that's what
you come up as Xbox fan when people search, your GIF. Why is that? What's the history with King David and Xbox? Like kind of break it down for us a little bit.
Okay, so I was there in the launch party when Microsoft was coming. Well, all right. It started with Electronic Boutique. I went inside Electronic Boutique and I saw they had an Xbox there. Now, prior to that, we would get magazines like EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Game Fan, those books and stuff like that. We would read about the consoles coming out, and Microsoft was launching a console, and they had I think the Rock Bring It Out, something like that at that time. And we was watching wrestling at that time. It was like, what? The Rock, Bill Gates? Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I got a chance to play the demo inside Electronic Boutique. And I played the demo, and the second I played Halo right there, because I remember when I'm old PC dude, and I remember when Bungie was gonna do a real-time strategy game called Halo, and the early on pictures of it was like boo-boo, like, nah, that's not it. And then you heard Microsoft purchase Bungie, and I'm like, okay, but then they purchased them with the thoughts of making a first-person shooter game called Halo. So when the Xbox did come out, they had a launch party in New York City. Electronic Boutiques, had the console there. My pre-order was there, and I went there with Lord Cognito and my wife. Yeah, she was there, and a couple of friends, and that's when I realized how the company was. They're like no other company when it comes to being personable. It's a complete difference, and I believe that to be the culture difference between the big three, right? You say Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, being that those games are from the East, those consoles is from the East, and they do their stuff a little bit different. Ours is from the West. We are more sociable. We like to put faces to things because we understand putting faces to things endears you to things, gives you a sense of loyalty to something. Instead of the brand, you are most likely like, oh man, Bill Gates. Like if I can rub shoulders with that guy, and then you look over, Bill Gates is at the party, you're like, oh my God. And you can actually have a conversation with the dude. It's a whole different vibe. So from that point, we got the Xboxes and we playing the Xboxes, and the Xbox was an incredible thing. Then we started doing LAN parties at Lord Cognito's house, and Mama Cog, I don't know how the hell she put up with 16 rowdy dudes inside the house.
Yeah.
But it was karate movies, video games, basically, and fights. That was basically our things to consume, and it was every Saturday. This is what we would do, and I've broken up with a lot of women during that period of time, right? Like, because they for some reason women think that when guys get together, there's naked girls serving burgers. And this is not so. There's a bunch of sweaty stink guys playing games, yelling at each other.
Yeah.
So the Microsoft journey went that way, and they have more experiences with me when it comes to multiplayer. Now, you got the Halo, we got Hang 'em High, we have 16 dudes in the house, we have Blood Gulch, where everybody has their TVs and the controllers, and we're playing and LAN, and it's just insane amount of fun from that one game and that console. Not saying that PlayStation didn't have their stuff and Nintendo didn't have their stuff. I have separate, stories for them.
Sure.
But it carried over once we got to E3, once we meet the personalities. If you look at our podcast, we have Xbox, ambassadors or, engineers, actually key people that make the machine go on our show. They're not saying that we can't get PlayStation or Nintendo, but trying to get that is a lot harder. They're a lot more reluctant opposed to Microsoft, where I think it's a real, just a huge different philosophy. So that company, I mean, that's why I really love them. I mean, they try different things, they innovate in different ways, and they're actually more the people. They're the people's champ. You know, they're not the actual champ. You know, but they're more of the people's champ opposed to just being a champ that just rules with iron fist. It's completely different philosophies by the whole big three.
Yeah, it's funny, on the last episode I talked about like their social strategy, the right. social media strategy, and just how, I mean, do you know how many times Nintendo has replied to me on Twitter or PlayStation?
0. Yeah,
you know how many times Xbox has? I mean, I don't even know. It's been numerous times.
Yeah,
right? Like, yeah. Like their social team is incredible, and it's because of the leadership, right? The leadership allows them to do their job and to do their job well, and it's not just scheduled tweets that are all marketing. It's
yeah. Sometimes you may get something that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
I like I said, it boils down to the philosophy of the companies, right? I think Nintendo is complete. It's a complete claptrap. That's it. You're not getting anything out of them unless they want to, get it out. Sony is the same, but in a sense, I believe theirs is arrogance, right? I believe that they feel that they are the modern gamer. They look at Nintendo as the retro gamer, nostalgia gamer. They feel that they are current, high tech, and we are gaming. We set the pace. This is my thoughts of them, because when they can have such amount of bad press and still refuse to say anything and still believe that their console is the console of choice, then I believe that's an arrogance and a hubris opposed to anything other than like a strategy. They will release whatever they're going to release, when they want to release it, how they want to release it. And it might work for them. Microsoft doesn't have that luxury at all. And you get that luxury through Cache. They make great games.
I love where Microsoft is right now. I love where Xbox is right now.
The underdog?
The
underdog, the beaten kid.
They have to fight. They don't have a choice.
Dude in the karate movie that got his ass whipped in the beginning and had to go back and learn his craft. You ever see the karate movie? If I can give you every karate movie that ever came out, right. The first half an hour of the karate film is your favorite dude getting beat up. And he has to go learn something to stop or counteract the master, the boss. And his journey throughout that whole movie is to get to that last half an hour where he finally masters his move. And yeah, I'm happy that they're the underdog.
We've been around long enough that we've been able to see this cycle, right? Of like, Xbox started relatively strong. TurboGrafx 16, he's holding up right now. Oh my gosh, I love it. But we've seen where Microsoft was strong with the OG, dominant with the 360, and taking that beating during the one, and then having to fight back to it. We saw Sony dominant with the PS2, and then have to fight back with the PS3, and Nintendo selling Wiis like crazy that nobody played. They just all had them. And then the Wii U, like, they banked on that Wii name, and nobody knew what the heck the Wii U even was, and nobody bought it, to then watch them fight to get to the place that they are now. And Xbox they are fighting, but they are trailblazing an entirely new path with Game Pass and their approach. Like, And I'm very curious about like what's going to happen with Halo, because the formula of campaign multiplayer, it's not going to cut it any longer. They proved that with the last Gears and the last Halo. Something bigger has to happen, a BR or something like that, that's going to bring a larger, that's going to tap into the larger audience that's already doing. You got things like guys like Nick Merckx. That's like, if there's a Halo BR, that's where I'll be. And if that happens, that's going to be huge for Microsoft.
Okay. The difference between Microsoft and all those generations that you were saying, it was like, big Microsoft. It's like their little kid. Like Xbox is like their little kid, and he had a little science project, and or he was he's an athlete. He's you run track and field. Okay, that's cute. That's nice. But then he starts winning medals. He starts placing. He started getting attention. Now Microsoft looks over at that kid like, oh, you think you can go to the Olympics? And he looks in the kid's eyes, and the kid is like, the kid is Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer. And the kid looks at him and says, hell yeah, I can go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And they say, well, you know what? Let's fund this. Let's see how far this can go. Because there's a huge difference between the OG Xbox and 360. And, Steve Ballmer and all those guys that was running the show then. It's a huge difference. Besides the fact that, they did fix the red ring of death. They did, shell out a ton of money for that. They are really investing in the Xbox brand, right? Because if you're $1 trillion company and you have this side project that now is garnering all this attention through the Game Pass, because it was, how do we crack this market in a way that's different? How you make magic money? Any company, and for all you guys out there, if you have a business, if you have a company, if you have a business, if you have anything, you want to make magic money. And what's magic money? That's money you make when you're sleeping. That's money you make without giving an actual product, a physical product, right? It's a thought, it's an idea, it's an app. It's magic money, so that somebody can click it and they can actually be tuned in and clicked into you. Very easy. And that's what Game Pass is. They don't have to sell you an Xbox. They don't have to sell you anything. If you have a TV, a PC, or something that this Game Pass app can get on with the xCloud, with your phone.
Well, not me. They haven't sent me the invite yet, and I'm all iOS. So,
but they do that. They just did that, right?
They just haven't sent it to me. They've sent it to other people on iOS, but not me yet. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. It's making me sad.
Hey, Greeny. Tweet him. You never know, right? He tweets you back. Greeny is a hell of a guy. Aaron Greenberg is one hell of a dude, but it's a different thought now. Microsoft is actually taking an interest in it, and you can tell by the fact that they're no longer like walking with the Xbox Live thing. It's called Xbox Network, and when you see little branding things like that and little nuances being changed, that's a company cleaning you up. They're buttoning you up. They're getting you ready for the big show.
Right.
The big show is Samsung's televisions have, I think they have it over here, and LG has it over there in the Eastern market, and Samsung has it here with the phones and everything else like that. It's little things like that changes how the brand is looked at and how it's received. When it was going after Discord, what we was talking about before with the Discord deal is a huge deal in the fact that they have 300 million, subscribers. Now, active subscribers is probably 125, and you say the other 175 is dormant. But if you can activate those dormant individuals, those active subscribers, that's still 125, gives you an automatic infusion of people that will see your product. So when they walked away from the $12 billion deal, asking for a higher figure, I understood it, but I understand why Microsoft is pursuing that venture. You know, because they're prettying up Xbox to actually make that Game Pass thing as large as Netflix, as large as, you know, like Hulu, HBO Max, Disney Plus, those things like that, those streaming apps that we get a chance to look at all the time.
Do you know why I'm a Discord subscriber?
Why?
Because of Game Pass. Right? Do you remember? You got a free month?
Oh my God, yeah.
And I just that for you. I never stopped. I mean, I wanted to boost my Discord anyway, but
right.
That's where it started with Game Pass. And I mean, I've been on Xbox Live. I think it started and it went for like 3 to 6 months and I didn't have broadband. And the moment I got broadband, I've been on Xbox Live since. So however long Xbox Live has been out since minus 6 months. I remember when they like hit the 10-year mark and the 15-year and they were giving people stuff. And I was like, no, I'm so close. I'm so close. And,
oh my God.
And I mean, I signed up for Game Pass to basically play Sea of Thieves was the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I even had the game physically, but I was like, no, Game Pass. And I hardly touched, there was probably a 9 to 10 month period I didn't touch the Xbox, maybe even a year or longer, but I still paid for Game Pass just because it's like, if I feel like playing Halo or I feel like playing the new Forza or Gears of War, whatever, it's right there. It's there's that much value in it, right? That that even if I'm not using, I wanted to keep my streak going with Xbox Live as it is, right? So I mean, I wasn't gonna.
You're a completionist.
I wasn't gonna. I finally hit 100,000 achievements on 100,000 achievement score on like 2 weeks ago, and so.
Let me tell you my sad story.
Okay.
All right. So my sad story is from the Xbox, from the inception. Got my Xbox Live day one. My name was Melon Buster 1.
Okay.
Melon Buster 1. All right. And got my Xbox One. And I go to put my gamer tag in. They didn't really check my email properly. And because it had my email and it didn't say .com, it said .co. No M.
Oh.
I couldn't get my gamer score or all of that stuff.
No.
So that's how King David OTW was born.
No.
And I lost everything.
No.
Yes.
We need to start we need to get a campaign going or something. Like we got
my whole points. So when people say, "Oh, I've been there from the beginning," and I say, "Me too," and they go, "Your gamer score doesn't say that. Your gamer tag doesn't say that." So like to hear you say it, I'm like, man, that really sucks because there's really people out there that's looking at your badges.
So my original gamer tag was Neo 1X because I loved the Matrix back then, and I would use Neo in the arcades for my initials.
Because you only had 3 letters.
Because there was only 3 letters, right? So I would always put Neo everywhere. And the moment I changed my gamer tag to N64 Josh on the Xbox, I immediately went in and snagged my old gamer tag. So I still have that on another account if I ever feel like going back, or at least it's mine. Back. Like it's not getting nobody's taking that from me, So
you see your name flash up while you playing the game. What the hell?
Yeah, what is going on here? I've been hacked.
I would really be pissed off if I see Melon Buster 1 like joining me. I think I would really rage quit.
Oh, I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be spelling melon with a 0, and I'm going to send you a friend request.
It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Like, wait a minute.
Nah, stick to adaptive triggers.
There you go. I got you. So let's talk. I mean, you're in the thick of this. The Iron Lords podcast, you guys are talking about this stuff all the time, right? And so let's speculate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The show was completely out of right field, no pun intended. Right? Like, It was one thing to get the show on the Xbox. It was an entirely different thing. You know that Microsoft was like, hey, MLB, what's the price? What's the price to get you on the old Game Pass? Like,
I think MLB did that. Honestly,
more so than Xbox.
I honestly believe that once it was thrown out in conversation, because you're having conversations,
mm-hmm.
and when you're sitting there and you're talking about what's the platforms that you have and how you can diversify this and how this can be seen all over, because remember, it all started from MLB feeling that the license is only in one place and it's not being seen by many. And year after year, the numbers have gone down opposed to going up,
mm-hmm.
right? If you have 120 something million people out there, how come we're only selling 2 million? Right. This should not be. There's millions of baseball fans in this world. And actually, out of the 3 huge sports, baseball is trailing when it comes to popularity. Now, I wouldn't know about overall attendance and I wouldn't know about the finances, but I will tell you about popularity. It used to be American sport. It's not. Football is.
Yep.
And then you have basketball probably pulling in a strong second or pushing baseball for a strong second. Either way you look at it, but football has surpassed that. So they look at Madden, and Madden is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we doing this? Why do we lock ourselves off to these guys? And, listen, we got to make this conversation. So they're having the conversations, and now, MLB The Show is going to be multi-plat. Okay, fine. But how can we maximize this? And then they say, well, we got this Game Pass, and we have 20 million subscribers. I'm pretty sure at the time they probably had like 15 million subscribers. And we can actually, promote it. We will show you. They probably got some mock-ups and stuff like that, because when you turn on your Xbox and you see your dash, MLB The Show is there.
Yep.
When you go to your Game Pass, MLB The Show is there.
Right.
So you're going to put it in people's face enough that somebody's going to download. Let me see what this is about. And they're going to download it and they're going to check it out. And the engagement starts there. They have that whole Diamond Play stuff where it's microtransaction based and you subscribe to it or whatever, and you're generating a level of revenue. Now, I will not be shocked or surprised that it's sold more on Microsoft platform than it did on a PlayStation. It has more engagement on the Microsoft platform than it did on the PlayStation. And it might be the number one place to play MLB The Show opposed to the PlayStation. And when they get those metrics back, besides MLB, it'll never go back just to Sony. So forget that. But besides that, Sony's getting those metrics as well. They're the first party studio that made this game. All right. So they're getting the metrics as well. At what point in time does that not resonate with the higher ups? You have to look down and say, well, this is our first party title. If Ratchet & Clank does not go out and sell to at least 35% of the user base on the PlayStation 5, at what point in time is that not a dead system and we must spread it across the boards? Besides just PC, because PC is a large extent of a crowd that they're trying to tap into now. Besides just PC, it might have to go multi-plat. And remember, Sony started off as a publisher from the beginning. I'm just saying.
My gosh, there's so much to unpack there. So first, MLB The Show is the first baseball game that I've invested much time into since Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball on the Super Nintendo. I didn't even play it that much on the 64. On the Super Nintendo. Baseball games are myself and my father's jam. Like when that same cabin last weekend, I set up my Series X, and my dad and I home run derby, and we sat down. I had to hotspot. There's no internet there. I had to hotspot my phone.
Right.
We chose the Mariners Boston game that was played that day. Like we were kind of chatting about it while we were having a campfire at his other property. And we got home that night, or got to the cabin that night, and you could just pick the games that were played that day. And he was like, well, yeah, let's play the Seattle-Boston game. I'm not kidding you, and this was not intentional. That game was 8-2 Seattle. He beat me 8-2. Crazy, right? But like, he gets done, and he's like, this is really fun. Like, this is really like, so... I mean, so they're already talking to me about how, like, what Xbox to get. What should they get? You know, like, because of this. 2, I'm ready to go back to a baseball game now after playing this game. Like, I want to go and get a cold beer and some I think it's T-Mobile Stadium now. It used to be Safeco. They have these things called Dirty Tater Tots, and I just want to go and drink some cold beer and watch some baseball and eat some dirty tots. The other thing, with a game like this hitting Game Pass, the conversation that I keep seeing, like in my Discord, somebody's like, oh, I wish I could join your guys' league. And somebody's like, get Game Pass. If you have an Android, you can play it on the cloud. This is going to start changing everything when there is just an app available and all they need is an Xbox controller or any controller.
Didn't I just say that?
It's exactly what you said. Like this is what's so crazy is like, why at this point, why wouldn't Sony like try to figure out what's the deal that we can make to get our games on Game Pass? You know.
All right, so check this out, right? The great Bill Stillwell, he worked on the cloud, right? The Xbox cloud and xCloud. And we were there at FanFest. So, you know, he cornered off a little area for myself and Mr. Boomstick XL. And I actually had it in my hand. It was running from a server that was in Seattle. We in LA. I was playing Halo.
Yeah.
I lost my brains.
Yeah, I bet.
I said, nah, it has to be in here. You have no, it's not. Mm-hmm. And officially what I got in my house and in my hands is exactly what I played there. I say that to say this. He turned my cell phone into a mobile Xbox. Yep. That anywhere I'm at, all my games is there in the cloud that I can play. If Sony isn't working on a strategy that is equally as impressive as this, and Gaikai is not cutting it, they must join them. Now, I only say this to say, and I know they're like, oh, it's an Xbox thing. No, now we're talking business. This is a business thing. Mm-hmm. Because when your competitor far outpaces you without a stop in front of them, if they get to 30 million, that's the sweet spot. That is the sweet spot where you really start making money back at that point in time, and you're starting to garner more attention, right? Because 30 million subscribers at that time, you're really starting to hit that mega media part where everybody's talking about it and it's a must-have type of thing, right? Everybody, you know, when grandma says something about Game Pass, then you understand there's a problem. We have a problem there.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're getting to that point. And it is only beneficial for Sony. Like when you say, because they really don't make much money off of hardware, right?
Right.
You're not making too much money. Neither one of them. make too much money off of hardware. I think maybe Nintendo does, because Nintendo prices never drop ever.
No, and they sell tech that's so old that you know. Of course,
get a Wii U right now, $500.
Right? Yeah.
They don't make money there. If Sony's main mode of currency, and I'm talking about the PlayStation, not Sony the company, because we can get into that later. Their main currency is the games. Why not just forego the console and let the market leader? Because guys, Xbox is the market leader right now. Game Pass, 22 million sold. There is not 22 million PlayStation 5s in the wild. They can't catch up to that. There's not 22 million Xboxes in the world. They can't catch up to that. But there's 22 million subscribers to 25 and Game Pass right now. They are the market leader. They have the eyes. If you were to put your game there, how many of those subscribers that are active subscribers, that's an active base that you know that's engaging, how many of those people you think is going to touch and play with your product? Pause. And I think that baseball is a case study on both parts.
Sure. And I mean, and we keep, this is what I love, is a lot of people are leery of Game Pass from the business perspective for the devs that are putting their games on there. And report after report after report keeps coming out saying Game Pass was the best thing for my game.
Right.
Because it's, I mean, you look at the spectrum of games that's on there, from indies to AAA titles. There's indie, like I played an indie game. It's an easy 1,000 gamer score called Fractured Mind. And it dives into mental health, and it's won awards. Yeah. I never would have touched it otherwise. Right. But there was a little bit of chatter about it, and it showed up on the easy achievement stuff. I'm so glad I played this game. Right. And I'm glad that they made money through Game Pass, that otherwise the game may have just kind of, who knows if they would have won the same awards without the eyes that were put on that game because of Game Pass. I don't know. I'm just speculating, right? But
well, that's a valid point, because it goes the same thing for Netflix and other streaming services. When you're perusing for movies, and all the top movies, you already seen them all, and you're going through, now you're looking through titles. This is the same formula. This is the same buffet formula. You are more apt to try something that you feel that you're paying nothing for. Absolutely. Let me see. That interests me. Let me see that. When you go to a buffet, now it's a difference when you go to a restaurant. When you go to a restaurant, you're being very specific with what you're getting, because I'm paying specifically for this.
Right.
When you go to a buffet, you come back with all types of things on your plate. You're like, look at this, babe. What are you doing with those crab cakes with pineapples inside? I don't know, but I'm going to try it. So that whole thing changes how you partake. It has changes the way that I interact with my video games. I would have never tried Dead Cells. I would have never tried my cousin, what is that, Pablo, when he's the banana dude flipping around with the guns.
My friend Pedro?
Yeah, my friend Pedro. Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah. I would have never tried that. I would have never tried Neon Abyss. It's games like these games that I've tried that I fell in love with. Other games that I've tried inside Game Pass, that if I didn't have the service, I wouldn't have tried these. Like something Gato it's a monochrome game with a kitty cat that is like what is a Metroid.
Okay,
it's a Metroid-like game, and it's little games like this that you get a chance to try and okay, you know what? I love this game. It's getting ready to leave Game Pass. Let me buy it. Or if you're in Game Pass, and I know a lot of you guys have done this, purchase DLC for a game that you don't officially own. Now,
that was the other thing I wanted to unwrap. That was another thing I wanted to unwrap right there.
Have you tried to play said game after it's left Game Pass, but you have the DLC? Well, brother, either you're going to have to pony up for said game, or you have to get it when it's inside Game Pass so you can get the discount. What is it, 10%, something like that discount?
Right. Yeah. I just purchased all the DLC for Forza Horizon 4.
Wow.
Right now, I know that game's not going to go anywhere. So it's
right, but you got the DLC.
But I got it on sale. I got it for half off. But the DLC was as much as a retail game. Yet I I feel like there's plenty of value there, right? I have no problem with that. But MLB The Show, how much money do you think they're making from those cards that are being opened on their free to play game? I'm using finger quotes, right, or air quotes, but
listen. They're making a ton.
They're killing it.
And who does that money go to?
Well, it's got to be split, I would assume.
Right, but who's one of the major splitters? Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The developer. Okay.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Right. So Sony San Diego.
Listen to this. You sound like Mr. Burns. You're like, excellent.
Excellent. This is exactly this. Excellent. When those checks start rolling in from the developer that sold 1 million, 2 million copies before, now you're at upwards of 5 to 6 million copies, and you have the residual of the Diamond Pass. What does that turn into? It turns into a whole different beast.
A whole new ball game?
Way more. It's like, because at what point do you can't deny it, because this is one thing I was trying to tell people. Microsoft went and they purchased a lot of developers early on, right? And they got a bunch of developers, but at this point you got too big and you can't manage every developer. And I said, be on the lookout for what they're going to do next, because when you get to a big enough point in your business, you want to make little clones of yourself. So, because you can't be everywhere all at once. So you want to make little clones of yourself. In this industry, what you would like to do is purchase functioning, stable companies. So they went and got ZeniMax.
Right.
Functioning, stable publisher. One that can develop the game, produce the game, and distribute the game. And all you got to do is stick your logo on it.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And it's in your ecosystem. The next big thing is the same thing. Get another publisher. Sony is not in that mode yet. Microsoft learned early on they couldn't compete with a Sony head-to-head with games. We just can't.
No.
They winning Game of the Year awards. Last of Us 2 made me cry like a baby. Like a child. I've never felt that way about any game that I've ever played. That game actually is a fantastic, and I know a lot of people don't like it. Some people don't know, whatever, it's subjective. I like the first one, but I really love the second one. I really connected with the second one. It had so many different elements that they were unapologetically never afraid to attack. Neil Druckmann is pure genius. And Microsoft is like, you know what? We're not going to beat them at that game. We're not going to beat them head to head doing that. We can overwhelm them with sheer volume, and we have to beat them in a different area. And they went with Game Pass. And Game Pass is the only way to take down that juggernaut. Because if you can get those games on your service, that's the win.
Absolutely.
That's the win.
Yeah, absolutely. King David, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for taking the time. Will you tell everybody where they can find you And we're doing this again. I hope you're. I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Adaptive triggers.
Adaptive triggers.
You can find me on Iron Lords podcast Sundays at 1 p.m. when it's not football season. Lordsofgaming.net. We have a series going on right now. It's called Get to Know Your Lords. So look for that on lordsofgaming.net. That's our website where we have a ton of writers doing great, phenomenal work, up-to-date news about everything that's going on in the industry and all the stuff that you need to know. You can find episodes of KOS, that's King of the Statues. If you look around me, you see all these wonderful statues that cost a pretty large sum. And getting to that, Darth Castle X, Fridays at 9 p.m. That's DCX open mic. You can find me there, where I'm a host on the panel, and we talk these wonderful statues and go into details on prices and stuff like that as well. And I'm also a distributor of these statues, so you can purchase your statues through me. That will get to you to 3 to 5 business days.
I love it. I love it. All right, guys, you can connect with me everywhere at N64Josh, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye now. All right, my friend, thank you so much. That was that
Yeah.
like, yeah, we gotta do this again. YouTube chat, thank you guys for hanging out. I see all of you here. Thank you so much, guys, for being here, for hitting that like button for me. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye now.